Twitchy tail. What? It was a cool autumn day. Since it was only 1 week into autumn, only a few trees had their leaves changing color and falling already. Sunny woke up with a yawn. It was cold. She shivered slightly, knowing that it was going to be a cold day. A light blue hoodie with pink stars was in a red box near her bed, so she pulled it out and put it on. She got her iconic bag, did her hair, and went down to the kitchen. Her friends seemed to have been awake already. There was a box of yummy chocolate-coated cereal in the kitchen, so she got that. She poured the milk and cereal into a bowl, and grabbed a spoon before sitting down to eat. Sunny liked the sweetness of the chocolate. She put a spoonful in her mouth and noticed an odd texture to it. It didn't taste bad, just weird and a bit grainy. She shrugged it off and had another mouthful. It was the same, an odd grainy texture along the smooth bits of chocolate-covered cereal. Sunny was confused. She grabbed the box of cereal to check the use-by date.
Yep.
It wasn't until a very, very long time, so she checked the milk.
Milk still has a long way to go.
So she went back to her bowl and had a slow but still another mouthful, where she felt something tiny crawling along her face. After crunching and swallowing her mouthful, she slapped the spot where the crawling was felt.
Ow!
Sunny exclaimed, after she had hit her nose harder than expected. She moved her hoof down to her view and looked close. An ant. There was an ant on her hoof, struggling as it was crushed by Sunny's massive hoof. Confused, Sunny moved her hoof away from her view of the bowl, expression changing from confusion to horror. There were ants swimming along the chunks of cereal. She was eating ants. She looked down in terror. She felt disgusted. Investigating further, the whole box had ants through it, leaving and entering through a hole in the bottom. Even worse, there was a train of ants right near where she picked the box up. She stared at the trail in horror as she followed it to an open window the ants were rushing through. Clearly, some pony left the window open at night, and some ants discovered the food inside the house.
Well, at least it wasn't a raccoon. At least it was just an ant trail coming from outside. Just need to remind every pony to close that window at night.
After Sunny had a relieved sigh, a raccoon threw a bag of chips at her head.
Seriously?
She then noticed a bat hanging from the ceiling. Sunny grabbed a broom. She shouted at it as she looked at the ceiling. She felt that this was too simple to use her alicorn powers for, so she grabbed a stepladder and stood on her hind legs. The broom was waved near where the bat was hanging before Sunny smacked it. The bat started to fly around the room before dashing towards Sunny, surprising her and making her fall off the stepladder and onto her butt. She grumbled as she grabbed the broom and chased it out of the window before closing it. On her way back to the table, she noticed a duo of seagulls on the floor fighting over a loaf of bread. She mumbled angrily,
Where did you two come from?
Then she opened the window again and chased them out.
Shoo, shoo!
She screamed. She stood facing away from the table. She walked back, listening and looking for any animals to chase out. Right behind her was a skunk on the table that she was about to back into. As Sunny stepped back, bumping the table slightly with her backside, she looked back in horror.
Oh, please, no.
Sunny whimpered before being sprayed in the face. After having a less ant-filled breakfast and getting rid of the skunk spray smell, she stepped outside. It was a cloudy, windy day. Nearby, Zip and a few other ponies were playing soccer with Pip filming it. Sunny walked along the path for a bit before something big and hard hit the side of her face. She found herself on the floor and a ball rolling down the hill.
Sunny!
Zip's voice shouted as she ran over. Sunny rubbed the spot she was hit in, as Zip apologized and went back with the others. She sighed and walked along before stopping not long later to hear Izzy call out.
Sunny! Huh?
Sunny said, as she turned her head in the direction Izzy was in.
What is it, Izzy?
Asked Sunny, as she walked across the damp grass.
Check this out!
Izzy said with a giggle. Then her tail started to twitch.
Oh, look! It's happening again! Twitchy tail? Reminds me of...
Responded Sunny, as she took another step and ended up falling in a small muddy ditch. The bottom of her body and muzzle were covered as a result.
Oh, that's what fell this time. It was you.
Izzy said, slightly concerned as she poked her head over and looked down at Sunny.
Are you okay?
Izzy helped Sunny out of the mud, and she giggled.
Now you're muddy, Star Scout.
Sunny groaned as she felt the wetness on her belly. She wiped her muzzle with a foreleg. Izzy looked at the ditch.
Forgot to mention, that's gonna be something. What were you about to say?
Sunny shook the excess mud from her head, and she gained a smile.
Twitchy tail whenever something falls. Oh yes, that's like the power of the ancient pony Piggy Pie! Her tail did the same thing when something was falling. Wow, that's amazing! Has that ever happened before?
Asked Sunny with excitement.
No, only after that coffee I drank last week, that put me in a hyper rush.
Izzy exclaimed, sounding confused. Then her tail started to twitch again, and Sunny gasped as she looked up and around. She didn't see anything. She looked up for a bit before confirming that nothing was falling.
Oh, hey, nothing. That's where...
Sunny managed to say before a flower pot fell on her head.
Ouch!
Followed by an anvil, a barrel of hay, a cart of apples, and a piano. Izzy cringed slightly as she looked at the pile of stuff that fell on Sunny. She then looked up to see a gray male Pegasus being scolded by another for accidentally opening a cart full of parcels in the sky.
Are you okay, Sunny?
Asked Izzy to the pile Sunny was under. Sunny no longer wearing the hoodie from earlier, and Izzy walked towards Hitch's office to give him a visit and take him on a picnic. On the way, Izzy's ears started to uncontrollably flop around.
Floppy ears, what does this mean?
Izzy asked, as she looked at Sunny, waiting for an answer. Sunny responded with a big smile.
Oh, according to the old friendship book,
she said, before a group of ponies on skateboards skated past a puddle she and Izzy were near, completely soaking Sunny.
Something like that,
grumbled Sunny. Izzy giggled.
Alright, soggy Star Scout.
Sunny gave Izzy a death stare as a response.
Very funny,
muttered Sunny as she rolled her eyes. A while away, the group splashed another pony.
I'll have my revenge!
Trixie screamed at them angrily. They soon entered Hitch's office.
Hey, Hitch,
Sunny exclaimed.
How are you?
In a corner was where Sparky the baby dragon, now a few months old, was taking a nap in his cot. Hitch smiled before noticing that Sunny was dripping with filthy water. Oh, Sunny, what happened to you? He shouted.
A few ponies splashed me with a puddle.
Sunny responded bitterly, still salty.
Huh.
Izzy questioned as she looked at her legs.
Sunny?
She said with a smile as her ears started to flop, eyes fluttered, and knees started to twitch in that exact order.
What does it mean when my ears flop, eyes flutter, and knees twitch?
She asked. Sunny shook her wet hooves.
Oh, it's,
She started to think.
Either means that there will be a rainbow or
she managed to say, before some pony slammed the doors open violently, sandwiching Sunny between the wall and the door of the office.
Sheriff!
A green Pegasus with a yellow and white mane shouted.
I have a complaint.
Every pony else was too busy looking at the doors with concern as they moved back to their closed position. Sunny fell to the ground, phased, as he pictured stars circling her head. You okay, Sunny? Hitch asked, now standing up with a first aid kit. He looked very concerned.
You should have looked where you were standing.
The Pegasus spat as she stomped her hooves. Sunny shook her head to get rid of the dizziness.
I'm fine. So we gonna go and do the picnic?
She asked. Izzy started to scratch her horn. It never felt itchy before, which was strange. Hitch sighed. I'm sorry, Sunny, I can't today. Something came up and there's a storm coming. I'll be able to tomorrow. Sunny looked down in disappointment.
Seems itchy horn means some pony is gonna be disappointed.
Izzy replied happily. Hitch also noted Sunny's damp and muddy appearance. I suggest you have a bath when you get home, okay? Sunny looked at herself, legs covered in mud. Then she chuckled nervously.
Oh, good idea.
The two ponies walked through the town again.
Hey, we should go to that bakery.
Izzy exclaimed happily.
The same one that gave you coffee as part of a wrong order?
Sunny asked. Izzy nodded, but Sunny sighed.
They're closed today.
Izzy skipped ahead.
Then let's go to that.
But soon, it started to rain. Izzy laughed and giggled in response as she splashed in a puddle. Sunny was less amused as Izzy constantly splashed her.
Hey!
Exclaimed Sunny as she shielded herself with her hoof.
Oh, I'll race you home.
Izzy shouted playfully, and Sunny chuckled.
You're on.
The two mares started to run through the rain, hoping to win their little race. As they ran on the hill the bright house was on, they didn't run on the path. That was a mistake. Sunny ended up falling into the same muddy ditch as before, but this time getting muddier as it was filled with water. On the bright side, due to the way and position she fell in, Sunny's bag wasn't submerged in the muddy water, meaning nothing inside was damaged or muddy. She laid there, on her right side in the small muddy ditch, hair, legs, stomach, and tail engulfed by the muddy water. Izzy giggled as Sunny pulled herself out, her right side of her body being much more muddy than her left.
Did you enjoy your mud bath, Muddy Star? No.
Sunny interrupted her. Izzy's knee twitched, horn itched, and ears flopped in that very order.
What's that? Good question.
Sunny managed to inform before a lightning bolt hit her. Izzy had a glimpse of her skeleton as she was hit, like in a cartoon where a character was shocked. After that shocking experience, Sunny stood there, slightly charred and annoyed. Back at the bright house, Sunny was in the bathroom, blindfolded as Izzy created something she called a surprise bath. She heard running water and smelled a familiar smell. Berries, one of her favorite. Soon she felt something bubbly at her hooves, but didn't look.
Oops, too much.
She heard Izzy say to herself.
Is it some now?
Sunny asked.
Almost.
Izzy exclaimed. Sunny could then smell some lavender. She smiled at the pleasant smell. Soon the running water stopped and Izzy tore the blindfold off of Sunny's face. She gasped in surprise as she looked at the tub filled with water and colorful bubbles.
I used my favorite, rainbow bubbles to make your bath colorful.
Izzy exclaimed.
And I use your bubbles in my smelling salts to give it a lovely smell. That's nice, Izzy.
Sunny thanked her before climbing in. The water was at a pleasant warm temperature, but there was so much bubbles it colored her head as she sat in the water. After getting a bunch of bubbles out from her view, Sunny saw Izzy curiously look at her shoulder.
What's up?
She asked.
Another one? Does achy shoulder mean anything?
Izzy asked with a slight smile.
Well, according to some ancient entry written by Pinkie Pie in achy shoulder memes, there's an alligator in the bathtub.
Sunny explained happily. She was so happy to teach Izzy about ancient Equestria. Izzy took a concerned glance at Sunny.
A real alligator?
Sunny nodded.
Oh, yes, her alligator gummy was indeed real. In a bathtub.
Izzy asked, to confirm as she looked at the tub Sunny was in.
Yes, in a...
Sunny said before realizing.
Oh, you didn't put a real alligator in the tub, did you?
She then looked into the water with a gasp as she felt something brush against her leg. Then, on the other side of her, two beady black eyes belonging to a small purple head poked out of the water and did a blep. Sunny gasped in shock and moved back quickly. The creature in the tub was a similar color to Izzy's fur, and had blue patches along its back and a lighter purple belly.
What's a newt doing in my bath?
She shouted in shock.
Newt?
Asked Izzy, as she walked over to the tub and had a look at it and giggled.
Oh, you mean salamander.
She giggled as she put her hoof in the water to pull it out. It happily sat on Izzy's hoof.
There you are, Mini Izzy.
Izzy exclaimed.
What did I say about free roaming without supervision?
She scolded.
You named an... I mean, salamander?
Sunny asked as she cocked her head in confusion. Izzy nodded.
I guess you haven't met yet. This is Mini Izzy. See? She's the same color as me.
She exclaimed happily.
Oh, cute?
Sunny said, sounding a bit confused.
Wait, don't salamanders have toxic skin?
She said.
That can be dangerous if you're reckless with it.
Izzy shook her head.
No, well, yeah, but Min Izzy is a southern equestrian tree salamander, called SET, salamander for short. These salamanders are some of the only species that aren't toxic at all.
She responded smugly.
Hitch helped me with the research. He's so good with animals. Oh, did you know that SCT salamanders' colors depend on what they like the most? It's so cool.
Izzy shouted with a smile. Sunny chuckled.
Interesting. I can see what her favorite thing is. Also, I've heard that they're blind when they're born and don't have tails. Wow, really?
Shouted Izzy.
That's amazing! I taught her so many tricks.
Sunny was confused.
How long have you had her? I got her a week or so after I moved to Maritime Bay.
Izzy commented.
Huh. I never noticed her.
Sunny asked, confused.
Oh, I keep her in the room behind my workshop where I store extra things.
She explained.
Alright, can I have a look after I'm done with my bath?
Asked Sunny.
Sure!
Izzy responded before leaving the bathroom. Sunny chuckled happily as she grabbed a sponge and started to wash her fur. She was loving the warm water and was excited to meet the salamander pet that Izzy had. Meeting Izzy's salamander was possibly the only good thing that's happened so far. In Izzy's storage room, there was boxes filled with things like rubber, cloth, buttons, thread, and such. There was a box filled with tools and a large desk with a tank on it. Ferns and other small plants grew and thrived amongst a large body of water, branches, and rocks. Izzy was yet to give the tank a glow-up since she was doing other things, but there were a few colored rocks and a few objects like a rubber ball, a slide, and a miniature version of the Bright House. There was a large rock under the light coming from the lamp that was where Izzy put her salamander. Mini Izzy likes the warmth the lamp supplied. 2 other salamanders joined her, one being a Western Equestria tree salamander. They have a large fin on their back, and their colors are often yellow, green, or blue. This one being a blue, she named Blue. Blue was a bit smaller than Mini Izzy, but the other salamander, this one yellow and orange, it was the smallest. But when it grows up, it would be a bit bigger than the other 2. The young Eastern Equestria tree salamander, like the other 2, have skin that is not poisonous in any way. Their colors are usually the same as the trees they live among, meaning they change color depending on the season. Izzy smiled cutely at her 3 salamanders. She recently got the 2 as Mini Izzy needed company in her huge tank. She liked her salamanders, but not as much as her friends. It's the little things, I tell you. Little things make life so nice sometimes. Granted, this story was pretty beefy, but still great. Anyways, let's get on to our future predicting donators. Top donators are 630, J10Man, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, and IronSky. Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin Rolan, Stu Hex, Sword Brethren, Mordred, Omicron, Lyrae, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Riot, BadassWaffle, Shadow Moon, Luigi88, and many more amazing people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.